Well, hello, everybody. It's Del Shores.
And I'm Emerson Collins, and you're watching The Del and Emerson Show.
Straight talk.
Real gay! On today's episode, we're going to get into these Capitol arrests, the gay and bigoted invaders that have been outed, Sex and the City, Drag Race, Xena vs. Hercules, Trump administration's final bigoted acts, a trans-affirming priest, a Cadbury Creme Eggs commercial kerfuffle, and a Poppr subscription. How's that?
Well, it's just a plethora of variety. It's just a lot.
A smorgasbord. You know, we like to say we do the news and the nonsense. We're going to give you some of both.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Sam's Town, that buffet they had in Shreveport when we were doing. Remember that? That big. It went for. I mean, it wasn't just one room. It was several rooms.
I mean, I prefer that. A buffet should be an oasis. You know, if you can get one of everything on one plate, it's not a buffet.
No, you just, and
a lazy meal.
And I have to say, and I don't mean this as any kind of fat shaming or good for you to go to those buffets, but there were some very large chairs. They were extra large chairs that they put in there to accommodate some of their clientele. It was thought out. That
there's some things you shouldn't be able to get for $19.99. You know, I don't trust your filet mignon or if it's a $20 all you can eat.
Yeah, even shrimp.
Seafood.
I'm not sure about the shrimp. It's I always say there's a few things you do not want. You don't want day old sushi. Mm-hmm. You just there's a few. Yeah. Anyway, all right. We've already digressed.
You don't want LASIK from a Groupon. You know, there's certain things you just don't want a discount on. I want to know it's expensive.
It's not just LASIK. They have plastic surgery Groupons. Plastic surgery. I go, no. I don't want my neck done by you.
I don't know why I do that. When you're ready to move on and then I want to say one more thing, I don't know why I act like that isn't going to start you down a whole other rodeo. Like I'm never going to get the last one. I'm never going to get the last one. Hey, everybody. How are you? Real question, real answer, checking in. Because I'll be real honest, yesterday and today have been hard for me. I'm fine, don't worry. The pills are working, but I can feel it sitting sort of high in my chest and like the warmth behind my eyes when I settle for a minute. How are you, Del? How are you, Del Shores?
I'm actually better than you.
Yeah, that's not rare.
And I don't mean that in mental health. That's like my mother. I say, well, we're better than them.
In general. But how's your being? How's your being?
It's actually good. I have to say, I did something, and I highly recommend it. I started before I go to bed each night. I literally write out a schedule for me, and it has been really helping me to stay on track, to keep me from using multiple projects as procrastination, because I do that. I go, and then I end up doing nothing. So I'm being very productive. And you know what? I'm getting to work with you right now. Not this second, but we are writing, and it is so much fun. So I had a great day today.
We can't tell y'all. We'll tell you when we can. But now we're back to acting like we hadn't seen each other all week when we spent all day on the FaceTime working. But everybody else, I feel like this is such a moment for everybody to remember to find what works for you, right? You need lists. It helps you focus. Other people, I posted on Instagram yesterday, just said, hey, today was rough for me. How's everybody? And other people find lists pressure because if they don't get it all done at the end of the day, they feel like a failure. So whatever you're doing, everybody remember, you know yourself and what you need to do. But I'm finding a lot of people, the combination of New Year's, not being able to turn a new leaf, the January doldrums, the complete destruction of basic foundations of democracy and whatnot are weighing heavily on folks.
Yeah, it's tough, and I understand what you said about those lists too, because it stresses me out a little bit too. But I've altered my mental about list, and now I allow myself to carry over. So it still helps, and I carry over, and I don't beat myself up. If I don't get to it, it's okay.
I think that's the big compromise, right? Being okay with like, great, I made a plan for today. And if all you managed to do was get out of the bed and put on pants and move to the couch, call that a win, move everything else to the list for tomorrow and try again. Don't judge yourself for what you did or didn't. It's good to have a plan. And then if you don't do the plan, make it the next plan. Absolutely.
I have not gotten to get to putting on pants yet, but other than that,
it's overrated.
I should let me add that to my list.
I will let y'all know I put on pants for this show. It's the only thing I put them on for.
I have them on too. Look, and I have really cute boots on.
Oh, they are. When Dell and I worked during the wet day, sweatpants and a baseball cap. I only showered and shaved to do this show.
He's in West Hollywood and I'm in the Hollywood Hills, and I could smell him on Thursdays.
It's fine. Smell-o-vision. Why didn't that ever catch on? All right, we do have a bunch of news and in our new loosey-goosey structure, but I do want us to be able to launch in, and please feel free to weigh in some of the things we're seeing coming out of the invasion of the Capitol last week, and the president straight up encouraging that. We'll give some stories. Feel free to share your thoughts. But this first one, I really loved. A member of our community. I want you to meet Helena Duke. Hold on, I gotta get this out of the stream so you can meet her. She is an 18-year-old lesbian. She shared online that her family had said she was not welcome as a result of her attending Black Lives Matter protests this summer. And so last week, her mother, Therese, lied and said she was taking a relative to a medical procedure and turned off her phone tracking app. Well, Thursday, Helena's cousin sent her a viral video of a fight in DC, and Helena recognized her mom, aunt, and uncle in the video from DC. So she tweeted, "Hi, Mom. Remember the time you told me I shouldn't go to Black Lives Matter protests because they could get violent? This you?" Now, I want to show y'all the video because it is not even casual what her mother is doing in the
casual fight.
This is not a fight. And then this is not one of those where you could say, oh, I was just there and I didn't know it was going to get so bad. Okay, now watch carefully because that happens very quickly. Over here, you're going to see an arm fly out, and that is Helena's mother. Okay, see that? She swung her and then got punched in the face. That was
so her mother was the one who got punched?
Who got punched in the face because she tweeted confirmation photos of her mom, uncle, and aunt saying, "Hi, this is the liberal lesbian of the family who has been kicked out multiple times for her views for going to Black Lives Matter protests to care what happens to me." So she said, before President Trump was elected, my mother, she was a Democrat for the majority of her life. And then I don't know what happened. Something switched in her brain and she went through a very dramatic change to very far right. And Helena just said, "Y'all have treated me shitty, said I'm not welcome in the family, and this is what you're out there doing and contributing to," called them all the way out.
Well, I have somebody that is in my life that's a student and confiding in me that, and I'm not betraying that confidentiality because I'm not telling who she is, but how the radicalization of really good people, it seems like people that you grew up with and you thought they're sane. That's my favorite aunt. That's right. And then all of a sudden they're QAnon and they're believing all of these ridiculous things. They're storing food right now. They've got extra tanks of gas in the garage. I mean, it's shit that is crazy. And then it's like, and all the people at the Capitol were Antifa, all of them. It's the bad ones, just the bad ones.
Well, and it's why the impeachment, it's why the holding Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and so many people accountable is important, because none of this is to take away the responsibility of the people that invaded the Capitol, for the people that engaged in violent attacks like her mother swinging at this woman. But it is also to hold responsible, in addition, the people who created the environment for it to be possible. The president himself saying that people would have to riot if the election went wrong because the only way he could lose was if he was cheated. Planting the seeds, and then people like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley standing up and saying, people believe there's fraud and we need to listen to them after being the ones to tell them that there was fraud. You know, saying you started it and then people believed you and then you used their belief to go even further and to attack the systems that are how our democracy functions. Every aspect of everyone should be accountable, or it will happen again and worse.
And there needs to be consequences for these people, like Cruz and Hawley and Tommy, the senator, the coach, I call him. And Jim Jordan, other Jim, that was a coach. They Matt Gaetz, all of them need to be. There are repercussions, and I think we're going to talk about that today. But it is crazy what they did and how they're backtracking now, and not saying I didn't do it, but say we do not promote violence and blah 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 blah. Bull fucking shit. You were there. Not only were you there, you went back in, and when 8 people said no, I can't be a part of you anymore, you stayed. So,
yep,
it gets me riled up. It just gets me so riled up. All right. Well, y'all remember those, the LGBT Trump, Gays for Trump on Facebook? We did some stories about that. And the guy that created, his name was Mark Hunt, this little old idiot. Well, he was arrested. If y'all remember, he was arrested twice, actually, for defacing the Black Lives Matter mural with paint. And then he had a GoFundMe so he could attend this rally on the 6th in DC and ask all his followers, like, come with me, and putting riots in all caps when he put PATRIOTS, patriots. And he's, who else is going? And we're not going to DC to have tea and crumpets and sing Kumbaya and, just fueling, just throwing gasoline on the fire. Then he live streamed his trip, his little road trip. And then he took a selfie in the Capitol, in the bathroom, and said, in case anyone's wondering what the bathrooms inside the Capitol look like, well, now that they're all being arrested, putting on no-fly list, he said, oh, that was clearly a joke. And then he shared someone else's video and saying, Antifa members, all that bullshit that I just talked about, all these dressed up. And by the way, someone tweeted, which I absolutely love. They said, oh my God, Antifa really committed to this. I mean, they pulled out their teeth and everything.
So stupid.
And the costumes. So I swear to God, that one that was at the airport that's crying because he couldn't fly. I thought for a minute it was one of my cousins. So
go ahead.
So he justified all of this riots, repeatedly maintaining it was Antifa responsible for for the whole thing. And in the last few days, he's called for treason charges. Now, wait, against Biden, disavowed Mike Pence and the Republican Party, and is now pushing for the Patriot Party. So take it from here.
And then another, I feel like it's important that we notice, this is, our community is not immune to this. We've talked a lot about conservatives, particularly white gay men who are cisgender, who have gone down this road with them. And we have one more. And his video, and he made videos in his hotel room afterwards. He goes online by the name The Adorable Deplorable. Hold on, I forgot. You need to be able to have the sound to hear her. And he was clearly at the Capitol and bragging about what they did in and around the Capitol. Nope, that's Marky Hutt. That was the one from the last one. I swear I'll get it eventually. Our producer was on vacation today. This is Christopher Drew, The Adorable Deplorable.
Storming the Capitol, we stormed it. We were successful. We stormed the fucking Capitol. And for all you bitches on Facebook going crazy right now talking about it was Antifa fucking being infiltrating and that it wasn't us, it was us. We proudly took back our Capitol. I'm only here in my hotel room to get some gear on. I'm going back, baby. They brought the National Guard out for us and shit. We had the fucking cops running. They ran from us. And not because they're bitches, but because they're smart. I just got back.
I mean, talking about the police running from them, about going back out. But now in this thing of them all getting home or not being able to fly home, like you said, in a new interview, he said, "I'm scared, I fear for my life." Claims he never went inside, left when Ashley Babbitt was killed, and said, "I do regret not doing my research and not knowing what people were in there. I'm proud we took back our house, but I thought we took it back peacefully." It's an invasion. That's not peaceful. He drove from DC back home to Huntington Beach and says he's gotten death threats from critics and supporters of Trump. He's worried about the FBI investigation and that his beauty salon will go out of business as retribution. A lot of people real remorseful. Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on. Did I screw something up? Can y'all hear him? Yay for catching us live. Uh-oh. Wait, which of us can y'all hear? Because, uh-oh. I can't tell if it's me. Now, I don't know why you need to be judging my sartorial choices. Del, it seems like you're muted or you did something to your mic. I can hear me. Oh, well, it's a monologue. There we go. Yes.
It's on my Yeti. There's
Did you hit the power button?
Here's the deal. I use my hands so much. I must have just hit the mute button, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Like Blake and Blake walking around in public, and he talks about me being flaily. You flail.
Wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if you actually had muted me, but you pretended not to because you just got tired of hearing me?
If you couldn't see it on the icon down there, I'd be tempted and just say, "Oh, I guess I got to do it on my own." All right, we'll do this one more piece, so then we can get everybody in with it.
But what I was saying, Emerson, I just wanted to say about him. I didn't want anybody to misunderstood, and I don't know if I was muted when I said that. I do not wish anybody a death threat. I do not, but I do hope he goes out of business. I hope that there are consequences for him because what they did not take back anything. We took back, and then he continued to say we took back our capital. No, you didn't. You wreaked havoc and you're a little fucking asshole. So that's because I've run out of good words. All right. So now and then Donald Jr. Can we talk about this motherfucker? He says, so the Ayatollah and numerous other dictatorial regimes can have Twitter accounts with no issues despite threatening genocide to entire countries and killing homosexuals, etc. But the president of the United States should be permanently suspended. Mao would be proud. You know what? You just equated your dad with all of these people. You're stupid. So that's exactly what you did. And it is a valid comparison. So he must be worse than them.
That is the awkward, that you just put him in the same category as those people, intentionally or not, in order to say he's not quite as bad as, so why should he go, is not a great rationalization. Absolutely.
And why did he put in the homosexuals? He goes with no issues.
No, that's back to that thing they do all the time up against Islam and Muslims and Muslim countries. They throw homosexuals off buildings. That's an explanation we've talked about a bunch of times. It's just back to that chestnut.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
so then we saw all of them complaining this week about losing all their Twitter followers while Twitter was banning all the QAnon conspiracy theorists. Y'all are telling on yourselves when you're saying I lost 30,000 followers and they only banned 80,000 QAnon accounts. That's awkward.
But what people are now accusing Cruz and Gates of doing was that they actually bought Twitter followers. I
think that's less likely. I think it's that all of those people were following these people because they ban repeat accounts. Buying followers it's hard to figure out those accounts to ban them.
Right. So that's not what made them fall off. It was okay.
No, it's conspiracy theorists. Then they all went to Parler and Parler got turned off Monday night. I know. It's hysterical.
They just have, and now there's something about that. I was listening to a report though, that there's a little bit of, because of that, we used to be able to track them, knowing kind of what they were doing. And now there's some fear in that they are gone, that what are they doing? Is
I
there
don't
a
think that
plan?
makes any sense, because think about the people that have been deplatformed in the last 2 years. When was the last time you thought about Milo Yiannopoulos, that stupid gay? Not once.
No,
Deplatformed.
no.
He's been over yappering away on Parler and has not any contribution or influence in the major cultural conversation.
Crying.
We're not going to be able to stop people inherently being bigots. There's a level below which, right, there are people who cannot be reasoned with, who should not be reasoned with. I think there's a certain point at which you validate someone's terrible argument by engaging with it at all, right? You know, the elected leaders, Lauren, what's her face, Boebert, those people that were in the room with other Congress people not wearing masks, and now it was a super spreader event. That's the level of crazy we should engage with because they're elected. Marjorie Taylor Greene. But the rando, that's those people, we don't have to give them the time of day, I don't think.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and it's interesting the fallout, and also what's interesting to me, Emerson, is what's happening today is we're starting to see Republicans actually, like Liz Cheney, saying, I am going to vote to impeach. You know that Mitt Romney is, and there is now something brewing, which they feel that there's a possibility because all they need are 17 Republican senators to actually convict for impeachment. And if that happens, then he can never run again. And they're thinking maybe this is the way that we can take back the Republican Party. So there may be a movement, including Mitch McConnell, who's made some statements.
Well, it will be the grandest irony if Mitch McConnell's incredibly dangerous form of self-power preservation puts the nail in this Trump coffin in order to separate him from the Republican Party to start recovering damage in the perception of the party. And great, let's use that if it happens. And then also not let these people get away and pretend like he wasn't an obstructionist all the way back to Obama when he said he would make him president and focused only on getting people on court and not passing Merrick Garland. Like the amount of things that he did. Absolutely. Let's use this to our advantage if some of them are willing to use it to break with Trump, and not forget that Trump may have burst the dam, so to speak, but a lot of people ran through it behind him, all those people we've already named.
Absolutely. Thank you. What were your feelings? I'm sorry, go ahead.
One more. And it was really sad. I've been asking on Instagram what people want us to talk about, and someone mentioned Brian Littrell, one of the Backstreet Boys, went over to Parler, and that hurt my heart. Quit playing games with my heart.
I can't place that one. I don't know.
He was the one with the voice. He always sang the leads. He was sort of shorter with the dirty blonde.
I watched him a million times in the Revolver. A million times. He was, I cannot believe that. It's shocking when you find out who, I mean, the next story that you have is it's like, well, I mean, Jigs, you're right. And who knows if he's going to make it. I mean, these that are up in their close to 80s. I mean, when they get 6 more years, you wonder, Chuck Grassley, thank you. I'm glad you got reelected, but you're going to be there till you're 92.
Absolutely. Well, and forcing them to have to be reasonable and work with the Biden administration is in everyone's best interest if they can't play obstruction to everything. And you're right. I did have one more little piece just for fun, because I don't know about y'all, it's brain bleeding and so hard to watch. It's sometimes even hard to engage in the argument with the people who should know better, not the people deluded. Like, there are people I know that I've had to explain why a 45-minute YouTube video was filled with falsehoods that they were believing. The people who should know better. Kevin Sorbo, TV's Hercules, has been off the deep end for a while on Twitter. He retweeted a picture of some of the Trump invaders in the Capitol saying, "This doesn't look like patriots to me." Lucy Lawless, who played Xena, responded, "No, Peanut, they are not patriots. They are your flying monkeys, homegrown terrorists, QAnon actors. They are the douchebags that go out and do the evil bidding of people like you, who like to wind them up like toys and let them do their worst." And her calling him out in public, I mean, Xena only exists because of Hercules. She started as a character on Hercules, got her own spinoff, and then her show did better than his in the ratings.
Well, do you think that was, I was wondering if, is my sound weird? It keeps echoing. Okay, good. I was wondering if perhaps her little nickname for him on the show was Peanut. Hey, Peanut, we're ready for you on the set. Or was that just
personal nick? I would assume that that's some kind of personal nickname. I thought you meant like the characters. I was like, I don't see.
No, I thought it was like
Xena the warrior princess was calling Hercules the demigod Peanut. No, that did not happen. I can tell you.
That is not what I meant. I meant, did Lucy call Kevin as a friend?
Well, that's what
was it her nickname? Okay. Oh, good Lord. Let's just go on.
And I said, yeah, I agreed with you. I just said,
okay.
You mean maybe on the set, just between her as a friendly nickname.
You know what? This is what happens when you're not in the same room, Emerson. So don't bite my head off. I am tired of this shit. Be nice. Can we go forward?
I guess. Can you imagine? No, can you imagine, y'all, if I just did the whole rest of this show passive aggressive? Yes.
Pouting. Pouting. We like an actor that shall remain nameless that I had a little problem with on the set of A Very Sordid Wedding. Pouted after a little fight. You had to go in and do damage control.
Yes, and as people have said, and hopefully, there are some Republicans stepping up. I think hopefully some of those people who are wishing for the Republican Party of yesteryear, of long ago.
Don't say of yore. It sounds like it's of mine. It's not of mine. Of yore.
No, I mean it like in Bridgerton, in olden timey.
I know. I'm watching it. I'm with you.
All right. Well, let's look. We've spent almost half the show on it. That's as much as we can do. We're going to get on to some of the more fun LGBTQ news and nonsense. Tell us.
I got a little bit excited because if you know me and know me well, you know that I love Sex and the City. I grew up with it. I didn't grow up with it because but it was a passion for me. It was like, it was so Sunday nights where I went over to my friend Sharon's house, who was next door, and we watched it. Sex education with my daughters, all 6 seasons. And Sex in the City. Don't censor me, Emerson. Just let me go. Okay, so Sex and did I say Sex in the City?
You just didn't say it at all. You just got into the life history of it and everything. I was just giving the title.
That was like, that was the overture, and now the curtains will open. Sex in the City is coming back. And it's 10 episodes on HBO, and it's called And Just Like That. There will not be Kim Cattrall. She's busy trying to find an accent for her new show, trying to settle on one. And she's not coming back. So
How do you feel about that? How do y'all feel about that? How do you feel about that?
Well, they had a feud. I mean, I was aware of the feud. I kept up with it because I've been, I've been obsessed with them for many, many years. And I'm sad that she's not coming back because I really loved her. And I think that was her amazing role. I mean, it's the one that made her a household name. In that, everybody has their choices in their lives. And maybe she feels like a lot of people online. I mean, if you've been reading the tweets, a lot of people are saying, okay, are we really going to watch 50-year-old women, and back in, so who knows? I'm happy to return to it feels like, your friends are coming back for a party. Yes. So
my fear is, because it was definitely the show of like my slowly eking out of the closet era. But for my own personal journey, there was such a thrill in the way Samantha reveled in sex and sexuality and unapologetically, and the kind of partners and the way she talked about it. Because my own shame related to the kind of sex I wanted, who I wanted it with. I definitely am probably sadly a Carrie with a Samantha Rising. But I'm sad because I'm only worried that it's going to feel like Designing Women after Delta left. Like the Golden Girls when they moved off and took over that hotel.
The Golden Palace.
The Golden Palace. Of course I will tune in and I'll be thrilled, but there is an element of like that you don't have everyone. They were sort of the 4 corners of a compass. And not having like a woman in her 50s still celebrating sex and talking about sex. I feel like that's such a thing we don't talk about. I hope the others will get into that in the way that obviously Samantha would have.
And they, it would kind of be like if Will and Grace did a reboot without
Karen.
Yeah, without Karen. So
I mean, of course I'll be there, but it's also very funny. But I get it. You know, think about all that's happened this year. Do not do things that don't bring you joy. It's not like any of the four of them need money. So if Kim's like, this is not going to spark joy, y'all have fun. Goodbye. Let's see what anybody else said. Rob said on Call Me Kat, her mom and show looks not healthy, way too skinny.
He's talking about Susie Kurtz.
Oh, gotcha. We're talking about Sex in the City. Let's see. Victor missed it completely. It's funny what shows, right? Like some of us watched every episode and other people missed.
Victor, I revisited it during the pandemic. I rewatched the first 2 seasons and probably will continue a little bit. And it really holds up. It's 30 minutes. And it's one of those things that if you're during the pandemic, if you're in a bad mood or if you're in a sad mood, watch Sex in the City. It's fun. It's fun. It's fluffy. And it's like, you know, it's like drinking a Cosmo.
Yes. And New York, it'll be really interesting to see, given how they deal with what's happened. You know, New York, because it was so early in epicenter, you won't be able to not acknowledge how impactful that was on New York and people living there. So I just think it's going to be a very fun and exciting. I mean, I'll be there. I'm not complaining. I'm thrilled. They make my heart happy. But also, I think it's really relevant. You know, we've had several comments about people who watch Queer as Folk. I think for some of us, for me, they went almost hand in hand, right? It was very much reflective of my own journey, even though I'm not a woman, the kind of conversations they had.
Right. It was certainly, the Queer as Folk was certainly a big part of my life.
Yes. Well, all right, we've reached the halfway point of our show, which means it's commercial time. If you enjoy what we do here, the nonsense and the news we bring you, and you're sitting on a pile of money and you want to toss some coins our direction, you certainly can. On Venmo to @EmersonCollins, or on PayPal to beardcollinshoresproductions@gmail.com. It's in the ticker below. $1, $5, $20, $50, $1,000, $10,000. I don't know your life. Jigs, thank you for your contribution already today. We are grateful.
Yes, we are always grateful.
What if that happened? What if somebody just asked, what if we just happened to catch a new viewer today and they said, here's $50,000 for that little nonsense thing you do on the interweb?
Yeah, you know, I wonder if Kelly, my ex-wife, is in the room, because she's Kelly. How much you going to tip us if you win that lottery? She's all about that lottery right now.
Yeah,
and we're in a pool together. We don't just buy the lottery. We plan ahead with our winnings. We fantasize. It's fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, all right. Well, tip us, don't. It's fine. If you can't, no pressure, no worries. Share the broadcast. We appreciate your comments. And a quick shout out again to the people who watch the show later, because I get Instagram DMs from people with thoughts about the show after the fact as well. And a couple of parting shots from the Trump administration, being bigoted as they can be on the way out the door. The Department of Health and Human Services has finalized that rule they've been working on, revoking an LGBTQ inclusive anti-discrimination policy for organizations that receive grants through the agency. This is the one about adoption and foster care agencies. They announced the rule last Thursday. It'll be effective in 30 days. Fortunately, the Biden administration will be in time to cancel it, so it will likely return to the Obama-era policy. But still, just the point that they still tried to get this done fast enough for Biden to not be able to undo it. Bullshit.
You know, when they ask Biden and Harris, what are you going to do the first 100 days? I think they just need to go, we're going to undo shit. We're just going to
undo all those executive orders.
So, and also Betsy DeVos, the bigot that she is, as she's exiting the Department of Education, she sent out an internal memo, her final day, laying out their refusal to protect gender identity despite the Bostock SCOTUS decision. And this is that's her swan song, her final address to the staff, telling everybody to be resistance. Oh, yeah.
As if she had won some great allegiance from the remaining staffers in the Department of Education. Tell them, be the resistance, like resisting Biden's attempted equality in education. I mean, attacking LGBTQ parents, adoption. I mean, we've still got that Supreme Court case that we already talked about out of Philadelphia. and then attacking trans kids in education, like really hitting it home on the way out the door that yes, we're bigots.
Well,
oh,
I hope that we don't hear those two words for a long time after the 20th. I hope we so many of people like Betsy DeVos, they as much as their household names right now, they just go away.
You mean her name? You mean her name? Is that what you?
I just mean that we just stop hearing about them. They become so irrelevant in our lives. And the same with Trump, although he's going to continue and to try to do something. I mean, for attention, he's just such a titty baby.
Yes. The way I needed to show you, someone said if they won the lottery, they'd pay for many more seasons of Sordid Lives, the series.
Well, I want to say something about that just a little bit, because I got last week, I get maybe once a week, I get a message and they go like on Facebook or Instagram. And so they go, when is season 2 coming out? And I'm like, it's been a moment. It's been a moment. It was 2008 when we premiered. It's very rare that season 2 happens.
Not much.
10 years later.
I know. Well, hey, look, if you win the really gajillion mega millions and you just pay for the whole thing, we certainly could start a second season with who we got left and start it with Juanita's memorial service.
Well, I have it figured out. Juanita started the fire and she burned in it. At the end, remember the fire?
Yes. That's right. That's awkward. It's dark. Don't worry. Welcome, Jacob, new to the show. Y'all, we love our regulars, but it's so exciting we're finding new people here. I've been working hard at pushing it out to bring more people into our little show.
Well, I've done a couple of tweets. All right.
Yes, honey, that's what it said. Lots of subjects covered. I can't read all the comments. Look, just hold on to your hair and strap in.
Someone asked me the other day if I'd read their comment on this, and I said, I can't keep up with the comments. I tried when we first started, and I love you guys for the comments, but I can't. I mean, it's a lot. It's like on your birthday on Facebook. You just can't keep up with them all.
My birthday was in December, and I still haven't read the Facebook comments. That is too much stress. My birthday is not an obligation to pay attention to every person who got a notification and said HBD on your Facebook page. Look, know that I love you and I'm grateful. That's all I can do.
You need more than 3 letters, don't you? You need a gift.
Yeah. No, I need, look, send me a message, something, but that's too much. That is pressure. It's your birthday, spend it how you want. This is our show. We do it how we want. And look, I read all the comments as we go, and that's how we share and divide the responsibility here.
Yes. Okay. Well, shall we?
Yes. Okay. Who watched Drag Race on Friday? Let's talk about it. What do you think of this winner's episode?
Well, Elliot with 2 T's actually performed on cruise ships with Matt Hayes, our friend Matt Hayes. So the moment I said, so I'm watching it a day late on Saturday morning, and I'm going, Matt, oh no, Elliot, that explanation, and then 5 minutes later, never mind. It's a lot of never minds. It's a lot of never minds. It's a lot of like, but I'm liking him. I'm liking the queens. That I do like. The format is like, I can't figure it out.
Well, it's interesting because it's part of why I'm loving, because they've shaken it up so much that it leaves both the queens who show up thinking they know how everything's going to go, the way the season 1 and 2 queens wouldn't have known, and the audience off. But again, now, Jigs, I'm going to say this very delicately. A lot of people felt like having the losing queens vote one of them off the island was mean, again, and then putting Elliot with 2 T's over in the winner's circle, and then they were distrustful, and she had to prove herself even harder. But I really am loving just the futzing with the format, because we're getting really authentic confusion from the queens. That's exciting to me. And I'm enjoying. And I loved. There's not anyone that's annoying me yet at this point, that's I really am fascinated by the difference. And I loved how Gottmik got to share her story of being trans, and how then back in the workroom, he shared his concern with Olivia Lux. If anybody's confused in watching the show, Gottmik has said in drag, female pronouns, out of drag, male pronouns, just like any other queen. So that's
right. Yeah.
the way
So
but I thought it was really lovely, and sharing how he's not someone that has dysphoria affect him very often, but it got a little weird hearing his own lyrics before he talked about it with everyone. I thought that was really nice. And then moving right on to everybody like sort of killing it in the show.
Yeah, and I am not at the point yet. I don't know if you are. Where I mean, Gottmik, yes, but I'm not at the point where I know who they all are. So I'm just popping them up, and I'm going to tell you. There's one that I am first of all, I like Lala Ree a lot, and then the other one that I am loving and is Olivia Lux. Yes, Olivia Lux is the other one that I just love. So
well, it's like, I mean, it's crazy. She's gorgeous. He is stunningly beautiful as a boy. Like that smile, that 1,000,000-watt smile. And Simone is such a star. Like the two of them as the top two, they absolutely made sense for me. The lip sync could have gone either way. I thought they both did great. But I'm enjoying, again, the split premiere different from the way they split it last year, because it is giving me time to get to know them better before we head to a real elimination. Jigs did reiterate, I think Drag Race may have jumped the shark, and it is mean. Still on the mean train.
Okay.
Needs to change it up. What?
What do you think? It's this mic. I'm so worried that it's just distorting. What do you think? How are they going to feed the other queens in? I mean, there was nobody that went home. I mean, what do you think?
It's very clear that this was the tops. And there's a winner from the tops. And next week, we will see just the bottom 6. And there will be a bottom 2 from that. And then eliminate it. I don't know if they'll eliminate the queen and send her home and then have the other 5 join the winners together for the first time. Or if they'll join everybody before the bottom 2 lip sync and send somebody home. That's the way I think it'll go.
Okay. Well, thank you. Because I didn't know. I agree. Jigs and I are on the same page. Olivia Lux, God, stunning in that old Hollywood look. It just was so beautiful.
Lala Ree's lame look with all that gold and like the bow and all of that texture and thing. I mean, yes.
You know what really touched? Yeah. You know what really touched my heart, besides the Gottmik's whole storyline, was when Lala Ree got emotional about when she was told that how gorgeous when Michelle said her skin was so beautiful, and she had as a child been bullied because she was too dark. And it's just like it's always so great when you're celebrated for something that you were actually bullied for.
Yes,
I think a lot of us can relate to that in a weird way.
It's certainly like not something we can get into as white men, but Black people talk about colorism related to how different kinds of Black people are seen and or celebrated in culture. And so I know that I saw a lot of people online speak to, as a truly darker skinned Black queen, that conversation and Lala weighing into that was really meaningful as well. It's what I love about Drag Race. Amidst all of the drama, right? We get so many different kinds of stories and histories and aspects and struggles from our community, so many different perspectives, and hearing people talk about it in the midst of this like wonderful celebration of definitively queer and campy art is just why I tune in. It's my mental health bread.
Well, same here. And it made, I'm thinking of, because, you've been such a fan from the very beginning, and I started watching only a few seasons ago. So I've been thinking that maybe every night, I'll just check out a little bit of season 1 and see, because I've gotten to know some of the older winners and, and losers, pork chop. But I'd like to see Willem be a bitch, on the show.
And Lord, it was good. Absolutely. And they are, go back and it's such a great binge too. All right, well, we got a couple more good and then fun stories before we get done here. This is a priest in Brazil. Father Julio Lancelotti, a Catholic priest from Sao Paulo, shared a photo of himself with trans women last week and spoke out in favor of equality. like a full Catholic priest. He captioned one, "Fighting discrimination and prejudice is an endless fight." And the second, "We are all children of God, always accept, never discriminate." He's well known in Brazil as a vocal advocate for equality and strong ally to the LGBTQ community. In 2018, he shared a video of himself asking a homeless trans woman for forgiveness for the appalling treatment she had endured at the hands of Brazilian society. Now, we talk a lot about the problems of religion here on this show and in our work, and I always want to celebrate people doing the work inside religious organizations to fight bigotry as well. It's amazing.
That's exactly, yeah, it is amazing. And then we have a conversion therapy story out of Indiana, Mike Pence, home state, and we know how he feels about it. And the Stonewall Democrats there's a proposed bill right now that will ban conversion therapy if passed. The Stonewall Democrats said that they would make anti-LGBT practices illegal, penalize businesses and Hoosiers who participate in the debunked conspiracy theory. The Senate summary says, if proposed, a mental health provider who tries to use conversion therapy on minors would be subject to disciplinary action. Now, this hasn't passed yet, correct? I mean, it's still, but it's up. You know, it's up there. So,
and I would just, we have so many states to get to, but it would just be so great if Indiana did this, right? As Mike Pence doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, and let's not forget that's Pete Buttigieg state too. So we don't have to say this is Mike Pence state anymore. We can say this is Pete Buttigieg state.
And Pat Hackett, she didn't get elected to Congress, but there's lots of LGBTQ visible people in Indiana. John Martin said, "I'm a member of Indiana Stonewall." So he's a member of an organization that's talking and pushing. I didn't realize that, John.
And I have an affinity for Indiana and Indianapolis because I've been Grand Marshal a few times in my career as a minor gay celebrity in gay prides, and Indianapolis was the first gay pride that ever said, "We want you as our Grand Marshal." So I love you guys.
Oh, I love that. And, and like, y'all, it's also a reminder too. I've been doing this, the other day I was frustrated and I donated $20 to an organization in Florida that fights to pay off fines of recently released individuals to get them back the right to vote, because it's sort of classist that fines and fees can inhibit people from voting. It's Stonewall Democrats working on conversion therapy. I can't do much about what's happening in the Capitol personally, right? But I can direct my energy, my focus, my small support to organizations doing work in my area. So remember, when you get overwhelmed by the national democratic crisis, that there are good people doing good work on important issues near you that you can be impactful with. Just like
and Emerson, I don't know. I'm sure you got the text today, but today I don't know. There was something about getting a text from John Ossoff, not asking for money, but saying thank you for contributing to get me into the Senate. And I wrote back and I said, it was the best money I ever spent.
Absolutely. Be like, and Rob lives in Indiana too. And then a silly nonsense again, but I also found this commercial to be hysterical. Cadbury Creme Egg has out a new commercial, and you'll see real quickly why. Oh Lord, conservatives have just got their hair on fire again. So here it is.
It's the Creme Egg Golden Jubilee. Time to celebrate 5 delicious decades. Stickers. Let loose.
Oh, that's real sexy.
Bakers. Bring it. Experts, you have got this.
I didn't know they'd been around that long.
5 decades.
Yes. Flex that index. Discreeters.
Oh, shame
Come out
eater.
of your shell.
And then here they go. Here it comes.
Sharers? Yeah, we are down with that.
Oh,
Calling
Oh.
oh no.
Let the eater take.
Oh no. Oh, can you imagine just how traumatizing it was? I mean, y'all, those two homosexuals eating those. I mean, people, the comments went a flurry. that said, "What the fuck's going on? No wonder kids and teens are confused during puberty." Another said, "I am not homophobic, but," always a great start, "I just think the new Cadbury."
The bot says I am.
Yep. "To be shown is totally unnecessary. Showing two men passionately enjoying a cream egg that children love to eat will only confuse children at such a young age. Why?" Another felt certain they wouldn't do this with a heterosexual couple. Yes, they would.
In a second.
First of all, that first woman licking that egg was more sexual than that kiss between those two. She ate that egg like it was an asshole.
Aren't you?
Or a
Aren't you like a big Cadbury fan? Aren't you the one who?
I think those cream eggs are the nastiest invention on the face of the earth. But the Cadbury mini eggs are my favorite candy of the year.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
That little candy coated shell. I love it so much. But I mean,
they freeze. They freeze well.
That is what people say. But the way I eat them is I chew real carefully and I eat the shell off of it and leave the chocolate center so I can chomp on the shell and then eat the chocolate. It's a surgical process.
I think you should get like, those good Southern people who have an extra freezer out in the garage.
For the other things. We always had in ours, my grandmother, my nana and Dee Dee had an orchard. And so we always had frozen peaches that she would slice up and put on ice cream. Anybody want to share a cream egg? I'm in. The new code on your profiles, post-pandemic for who wants to make out. Anybody want to share a cream egg?
Yeah, I'm in. After this pandemic, I'm in.
Those old Easter Bunny bok ads, right? The Easter Bunny hopping around for those eggs. But it is so exhausting. That full minute-long commercial and all that nonsense. And people really went on Al Gore's internet and 2,000 comments on a Daily Mail article about it. One said, "If Cadbury persists in woke advertising, then we won't be buying anything made by them ever." And a final said, "Really inappropriate for Cadbury's to be promoting this given that we are in times of COVID-19.
Well, that's a little different, Stan. At least they said it was about COVID and not that, but it's two men.
But the only way you get to that is if you could not possibly consider that these two men live in the same household.
Right.
Because I would know, obviously that's a couple who live together. But they thought, these two random men strangers obviously just met on one of them horrible sex apps or something and spun around in a yard and made out. Had they been tested? What if one of them had the COVID? Do you know what I mean? You have to not think they could be a couple in order to get to that. It reveals your subconscious bias.
They created a whole subplot line just going.
Yeah.
Well, we moving on from Cadbury to Poppers.
A logical leap.
What's that?
A logical leap.
Yes, a great segue from Cadbury to Poppers. Poppr Box is a new subscription box service for your Poppers. So if you don't know, okay, I know our audience.
Women and a few straights who might be confused.
A few people don't know that Poppers are used by some to relax muscles, specifically your asshole, and gives you, it allows you to bottom a little more easily in our community, and it produces a slight euphoric feeling, and I've heard a headache sometimes. The site says that Poppr Box is carefully curated monthly subscription service. Each month, your box will contain different products, carefully selected and delivered straight to your door. I'm loving these words. Never get caught without your Poppr Box. Let us do the work so you can get busy. And then they told Out magazine, inspiration for the company came when moving bedroom furniture around in true New York apartment style. The floorboards bowed and dipped to beneath the bed, where an array of old bottles had collected and fueled the idea of having them regularly delivered. Now, here's what you get. 3 boxes. That's your basic. It's 1 bottle. That's one. I mean, they have 3 different boxes. Your basic is 1 bottle per month. Your bulge is 2 a month. And your bottom is 4 a month. So, oh boy, to use 4 bottles of Poppers in a month. That's
I was about to say. They do not do anything for me. It gives a headache. It smells like paint thinner or some nonsense for me personally. But I feel like if you can manage to go through 4 bottles a month of poppers, you might
need a job.
I mean, no judgment. Live your whole life. Maybe, I've always said some people might have, like Steven Tyler's vocal cords, right? He's been screaming for 50 years and he still sings that just fine, whereas other people would lose their voice. Maybe some people's buttholes can take more. Because if you can get through 4 bottles, that is a fully professional investment of time.
That's a lot of poppers. That is a lot of poppers. And I worry about your brain. I really do. No judgment, but there may be if you need the 4 a month, you might need Poppers Anonymous. But
you could go in on a box with some friends. If you've got roommates,
that's right.
You could buy. It's like buying in bulk. I mean, definitely no judgment, but that is a lot of activity. Xena said you might need a neurologist. I don't know about the long-term effects of intense poppers usage, but given that it's been, you have to call it video head cleaner most places in order to buy it and sell it. Moderation might be key.
They do work, I've heard.
People swear by it. Absolutely. Yeah. And so maybe that's for you. But start with the basic and then work up from there. But hey, they've got underwear of the month clubs, wine of the month, steak of the month, fruit of the month, poppers of the month. Try out the flavors. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe there's some vanilla.
Anyone watching that would subscribe to that and wants to say so. Douglas said, my name is Doug, and I'm a popaholic. John said, 4 bottles, brains in the butt. Kitty said she felt like poppers caused her partner to become impotent.
Oh. Well, I'm so sorry, Kitty. I'm so sorry.
Group said discount. Wait, who was it that just said, I have graduated? Judy said, I've graduated. I don't need them no more. Look, with enough practice, maybe they're not as important.
Good for you, Judy. Judy is our Samantha of the room today.
Absolutely. All right. Does anybody have any final thoughts? We did good. Cranked right on through. Is everybody okay? Anything they need to share? Get off their heart? Any testimony? We got 2 minutes or so.
We got a testimony. Do we have any testimony in song?
Wait, but as we do the testimony in song, of course, I'd be remiss. One more time, if you want to tip, you can do that on Venmo to @Emerson Collins or on PayPal to beardcollinshoresproductions@gmail.com. We are grateful. Look at Sissy. Look at that. Sissy, and the dog.
Look, 2 sissies right here. Sissy never stops licking.
She does not. Sweetie? Patrick, love the shirt. Buy Pride colors as a bi guy. I approve. It is. I know. I thought of that. Like my shirt is the bi Pride flag colors, and I love you sharing that. There's bi visibility is harder often, and we talk about a good bit here. Ross said, "Hi, Sissy." I'm not sure whether he's talking to you or the dog, but both apply.
Well, we're both spelled with Sissy, Rob. So Sissy is named after Sissy, the character in Sordid Lives. But
Kelly said, I learn something new every time I watch this show. Well, good. We like to entertain and educate.
Yes, we do. That's part of our mission statement, Emerson.
That's right. We do try because the world is bonkers, and just as we all need to watch our own mental health, we need to stay engaged. Certainly in the structure of our democracy, it's a privilege if we can turn it off for a little while. But also finding ways to laugh along the way is important. We can keep doing the work, but amusing ourselves and holding people close is good as well.
I rarely read the comments like you do because I have that script that covers them up. But I love that Richard Seymour said he sent us a song, and I thought, what if it were suddenly Seymour?
Oh, that would be. John said I have to rewatch Keeps Breaking Up. I know, y'all be careful. Our internet's been crazy here. It's the world. They want to really get people out in the streets. Let the internet fall apart for longer than 24 hours. And Lord.
Oh, I had to rush down to Spectrum and grab a new box. I had to install it myself, y'all.
I was going to say, was it Marx that said religion is the opium of the masses? Well, I'd say now binge watching streaming services is the opium of the masses. You want to rile up the public, break down the internet.
I have never been so upset as when the internet went out right in the middle of one of the episodes of The Crown.
Oh,
I was like, no.
Yes. We are broadcasting from West Hollywood, Brandon. And that is it for us today, y'all. We appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back on Friday with more news and nonsense. We are grateful for your patronage, for your tips, your participation, and your comments.
We will